Welcome to Nintendo Dads episode 533, recorded on June 19th, 2025. On tonight's episode, we talk about the Donkey Kong Bonanza Direct. Metroid Prime 4 is out now on a banner in London. We'll talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about why IGN gave the Nintendo Switch a 7 and why the internet has to get over itself. And also, apparently, third-party developers are unhappy by the amount of games being sold currently on the Nintendo Switch because it's not meeting their sales numbers. But guess who did make their numbers? CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk 2077. That, so much more questions, and whatever Jesse and I really want to talk about. Hey, you're locked into Nintendo Dads. Jesse, cue the music. That is right, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Justin Masson, the hostess with the mostess today, and you are tuned in to Nintendo Dads. And you're lucky because it's just the two coolest Nintendo Dads currently on docket at the office making podcasts today. So, of course, myself, Justin Masson, but pressing the ones and twos and making us sound brilliant every single week, Mr. Jesse Waldack. Jesse, how are you, buddy?
Doing pretty good. Today is Thursdays are leg day at the gym, and I was actually feeling really good at the end of the workout. Even and oddly enough, not a workout I almost bailed on because I wasn't feeling it, but I'm glad I made it. And I felt good at the end.
Sounds awesome. Do you mind me asking, how much weight have you lost since you kind of really committed yourself to this?
I think it was about 50 pounds last time I weighed in.
Dude, that's fantastic. Well done to you.
I have kind of stalled the last month, so we're trying to figure out a ways to get it going again. But yeah, sure. I definitely feel a lot better versus what I did back in December, January.
Sure. And, having just seen you recently over in May when we were in PAX East together, I could tell that you had lost a fair bit of weight as well. But yeah, always great. Keep yourself healthy, right? It's a general note for everybody. Keep yourself healthy. I say that literally as I was chomping down on a bowl of popcorn and gummy candies and washing them back with a glass of Coke. So make better life decisions than I do. All right? Be like Jesse. Be like Justin.
I have zero sugar lemonade to drink.
What brand is that? Is that like a specific brand?
Minute Maid.
Oh, okay.
Our local Quick Trip or gas station has it in the fountain.
Oh, nice.
So I grabbed 2 large sizes to last me through the night.
There you go. Wow. All right. Well,
tastes better than just water.
Do you use any of those powder supplements that go into drinks and stuff like that?
I haven't in a while. I normally don't drink bottled water, just because I don't like lugging them around and moving them downstairs. So for water, I just have my little 32-ounce tumbler. I just fill in the basement sink a few times a day.
That's fair.
So nothing fancy.
Yeah, I appreciate that you don't lug around like a massive Stanley or something like that. My daughter, my oldest, Rylan, she has she looks like a Utah mom. Do you know what I mean? She's got the whole look going on for herself. And I don't necessarily know if that's something that I want us to be really proud of. And when she drops that Stanley, I swear it sounds like a gunshot has gone off.
I don't know what brand this is. It might be a Yeti, but I'm not sure. But I normally just stick just with water in here just so I don't have to clean it as often.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Nothing wrong with that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's just Jesse and I today. Apparently, Marty just decided he's going to peace out. He's like, I'm out. I'm out for now. So I don't know.
Tim wanted to make it, but he decided to go to the Tigers game, and the weather decided, bottom of the ninth, tie game, 1 out. Let's just start raining and make everyone wait.
That's what you get for playing sports ball. Do you know what I mean? That is, you made a decision, and you're stuck with being rained out at a sports ball game. But good for Tim. Hopefully his team, Detroit Tigers. Does that sound right? Detroit
Tigers. Yeah. And I personally, I don't want them to win because the Royals are 11 games behind in the division, and
I love the fact that you and him legitimately have a bit of a sports rivalry. Like you sent him what, ribs or wings a couple of months ago?
Yeah, barbecue. I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love, like, that's fantastic. I love that energy.
Yeah, and yeah, the Royals have won the last 3 games, and they're still 11 games behind because I haven't really been watching the Tigers, but apparently they're winning more.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like this level of sports talk here at Nintendo Dads, it's not a regular occurrence, so I apologize.
So you mentioned Stanley Cup because of your daughter, and I'm going to jokingly say that that's the only Stanley Cup y'all Canadians are going to see.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. You know, it is funny. So somewhere along the line, someone must have thought I was an Edmonton Oilers fan, because I am getting, like, I've seen a couple like comments in the YouTube chat recently about like, oh, it must be pretty sad, just like the Edmonton Oilers. And it's like, I'm actually a Calgary Flames fan. I want the Stanley Cup to come back to Canada for sure. And I wanted McDavid to win it for that sake. And I wanted so that all the Edmonton Oilers fans around me could just kind of like get over themselves. But yeah, ultimately in the end here, I was cheering for the Oilers, and I will get hate that like I'm cheering for the Oilers and I'm a Calgary Flames fan, but
what are you going to do? Root for a Florida team?
Right? Like I was like, I want the cup back in Canada.
I don't blame you for
come back to Alberta, and it's McDavid. Like there's a lot of, I don't know. That's sports talk here, folks. But yeah, ultimately the Oilers lost, and it was heartbreaking. So, but it wasn't heartbreaking. Nintendo Dads and tuning into us. Jesse, should we talk about the news?
Sure.
All right. Well, the news is brought to us by, well, you lovely folks over at patreon.com/Nintendo Dads, whereas for as little as $1 a month, you can help us make amazing content. We greatly appreciate every single person that helps us keep the mics and the lights on, helps us support us in all the endeavors that we do, whether it was PAX East in May, whether it was creating all the Nintendo Switch content that we have had on our YouTube channel since beginning of June, since launch, helping us just support our endeavors, giving away games to the community, helping us in all those type of ways. We are so thankful for your time and energy, whether that is via Patreon, whether that's via Twitch, whether that's just liking, subbing, subscribing, retweeting. Man, we have an amazing community, and we are so thankful for it as well. And I'm stalling a little bit here because I'm trying to get the list of new patrons who joined the show as well. And I want to make sure that I do call those out as well. Some new members who recently came in. Solo comes in. Eric Cross 200, Brandon, and Gamer Knight 45. Oh no, that was 2 years ago. Gamer Knight, I suspect you're still with us.
I think he re-upped or he changed recently.
Yeah, that's fair. Any which way.
I think we called them all out except for Solo in the previous weeks.
Yeah.
So
okay, well that's fair. Not a problem. Jesse, let me ask you a question. Do you like giving things away?
Most of the time.
Do you? Okay.
Depends on what it is.
All right. Well, that's fair. Well, Jesse, let me start off with this.
Depends if I have to pay for it.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. Whether we have to pay for it or not. Well, good news is we don't have to pay for this at all, which is wonderful. The fine folks over at Thunderful Games, as part of the Insider program, and let me take a pause here. What is the Insider program? Well, Thunderful Games has a program where content creators get kind of backdoor access to understand more about the games that are upcoming, get to kind of see content, be part of Q&As, and get access to codes. Well, this week they launched a game, Lost in Random, The Eternal Die, and they have provided us 3 codes to give away, 2 Nintendo Switch 2 NA codes, and 1 Steam code as well. And I did promise that we are going to give a code away. So Jesse, are you able to look in the Twitch chat and the YouTube chat at the same time?
Yes.
He says with a question mark. I don't feel successful.
Might take a bit to fish all the data.
Okay. Well, can you grab all of that data so that we can give away at least one of these codes right now, and then we'll give away the other 2 later? How's that sound?
Sure. I'll try to figure that out. How to do that.
Cool. Well, you do that. Let me begin to jump into our content. So let's start off with the big news item of the week. On Wednesday, Nintendo held a direct, the Donkey Kong Bonanza Direct, which was just a little over 15 minutes. And if you're interested in our reactions, you can go over to our YouTube channel where both Tim and I sat down and live reacted to it. Well, live by the fact it was an hour delay because we were busy with other things, but jumped into it. And Nintendo did a really fantastic job of really telling us more about Donkey Kong Bonanza. We finally got the reveal that that rock creature that was hanging out with Donkey Kong was actually Pauline, and so that was revealed. And so I want to just kind of like scroll down and give you some information about it. Now, of course, the game launches and it's exclusively a Nintendo Switch 2 game coming out on July 17th. So a couple of things you need to understand. There are new ways to smash and bash. Donkey Kong has abilities to smash through obstacles and enemies. There's a dive punch, which will dive deep into the earth and roll yourself over obstacles, hand slaps, that kind of stuff. There's also what are known as Bonanza transformations. And these are examples where Donkey Kong can actually turn into super strong. He can turn super strong. There's a zebra bonanza, which lets him dash short distances, and an ostrich bonanza, which allows him to fly and drop eggs and weapons. And I apologize. The other one that makes him strong is known as the Kong bonanza. So these are like three sort of like ultimates or supers that are being able to use. And the interesting part about it, we actually saw them strung together in regards to combos, and there's sort of gauges that you end up filling up as you collect specific currency throughout the what are known as Bananaza.
I don't like a lot of the vocabulary in this.
Yeah, a lot of the vocabulary. Let's be honest. Like some of the like naming conventions, I was like, you're kidding me, right? Like this is a little bit tough. Those you end up basically getting these abilities and you can charge them, which is great. There's also co-op play, which was showed off, which is by sharing Joy-Con 2, you and a friend can control Donkey Kong and Pauline separately. In local co-op play, so player 2 basically unleashes Pauline's vocal blasts on the controller function, and it can also be used during game share and play in co-op with another player locally. So that's really cool. There was they say race to the planet core, and then it says the legend has it the planet core has the ability to grant your heart's desires. So Donkey Kong and Pauline set off on a quest to reach it. There's a whole lot of other things there. Basically, the enemies of this are the Void Company, and so these are ultimately the enemies that we are facing. The Void Company is a villainous mining operation whose reach extends through layers of the planet. The Void Company is not only responsible for the banana stealing that is occurring, that has set Donkey Kong hurling underground in the first place, but is also responsible for turning Pauline into Odd Rock. Now, this was original. We saw Pauline was a purple rock, and then we get the reveal that Pauline it's Pauline. There's also a fair bit of collectibles in the game as well that you can discover and find along your way. There are collecting Bananium gems. This is part of the conversation Jesse was having. Like these feel like just horrible naming conventions. Banania gems, which earn skill points. Now this was interesting. Jesse and I were having a conversation. There is a lot. I'll take a pause here. You get skill points. Cool. Awesome. And I said to Jesse, when was the last time we've seen Nintendo do a skill tree in any game? And we struggled to figure it out. Very rarely does Nintendo ever give us a skill tree to fill out and allocate points to. So this is a really interesting sort of addition into the game as well. And ultimately you end up using those gems and where was I here? Skills points that increases the power and even allows you to learn new skills and add them to your repertoire. You can also earn the gems through challenges like timed battles and side-scrolling challenges and obstacles. They show these like when Tim and I were looking at it, it was sort of like, hey, it sounds weird. Oh, that's like a shrine.
Yeah.
What we both Tim and I both said as we were watching it was like, we don't officially know who the development team is behind Bonanza. There's hard rumors that it's the Mario Odyssey team. I fully believe it's part of the Mario Odyssey team.
Every other content creator I've listened to believes the same thing. So if there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah.
This includes IGN.
Yeah. There's sort of three, when I watched this, there were sort of three games that like, I was like, it feels like they said, if you put these ideas in a blender, I think and just give it to Donkey Kong, I think you're going to have a good game. So there's definitely like Super Mario Odyssey feels to it, looks to it, color palette to it as well. Even some of the usage of functions and collectibles.
You got a Breath of the Wild.
There's definitely inspirations from Breath of the Wild in there for sure. And there's very much inspirations that I felt of seeing stuff from Splatoon. And so I think you put those three things together, throw it in a blender. I think that's really sort of the themes and the vibes that you're getting from Donkey Kong Bonanza. And I'm all for it. I will tell you that right now. I am 100% all for it. There are other, and I want to just jump around. I'm jumping around here a little bit on the press release, but I also want to talk about some other stuff. You also have the ability through these courses to add those gems, gold nuggets, and those can then be exchanged in the stuff shop. In the stuff shop, you can get like extra collectibles and goodies, and you discover fossils. And then you can also use it to change your styles and your fashions that Pauline and Donkey Kong are wearing, which those also have benefits to them. And you can also change like the fur color on Donkey Kong. There's a lot of things going on there, right?
Did you see what the item is that lets you do that?
No, what was that one?
It's like a box of dye.
Oh, nice. So there are a lot of mechanics going on here. I sort of had a bit of a concern. I was like, are we a master of everything, or are we trying to master everything and be good at nothing? Which I'm a little bit concerned about, but we'll come back to that later. There's also, they mentioned here in the press release, there are familiar faces that you might recognize. We did see Cranky Kong in and Rambi in the direct. We also, if you pause quickly, you see Dixie Kong and Diddy Kong, so they're very much there as well. There are creative game modes where you can actually become an artist and like take rock and form specific like images, and they showed like people like making Mario out of rocks and making Donkey Kong out of rocks. So there's this crafting sort of component of it as well through creative games. And then the other part that they released was an amiibo, a specific amiibo that is used, and it will be available on the 17th, which allows you to unlock Pauline's in-game diva dress early and receive Kong tiles with explosive powers. If you scan other Donkey Kong amiibo figures, you will earn Gold Kong titles. What's more, if you scan any other available amiibo that's not part of Donkey Kong, you'll receive a large sphere of terrain material to aid you in your adventure. So there was a ton that they threw into this direct. If you haven't watched the direct, again, I encourage you to head over to YouTube, find it out as well. I will say that like by the end of it, I was already excited for Donkey Kong. This has put me to like another level. And I'm really excited. I think the timing of this is perfect. I know people are like, why didn't this get released on release date? I think this is great. We'll all have played Mario Kart World for essentially an entire month and a bit. And now we're like, now I want a open 3D platformer Nintendo exclusive game, which helps show off this console effectively. And this has really got me excited and hyped. I know people are already talking, oh, this could be game of the year. We haven't got hands on sticks yet, but this looks really, really good. And indeed, if it is a mixture of Odyssey, Zelda, Splatoon, and it's from the team who did the Odyssey game, man, we are going to talk about a 1-2 punch. But Jesse, we'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, it's not changing my mind. I'm still not interested in it. But what it caught me most is, all of the music stuff. There's a lot of musical references to the things past. They had the DK rap, and there was one musical reference that I caught in my viewing that I don't think you or Tim mentioned. So I wanted to...
What do you got? Throw it on me. I'm ready for it.
All right. So this is the clip.
Look at us, DK. I love to sing more than anything. Heart of gold, a wish come true. I have this dream. Oh, maybe if we get to the surface, you and me, we can make it more than a dream.
Do you recognize that?
I don't. Shut up. Play it again.
Look at us, DK. I love to sing more than anything. Heart of gold, a wish come true. I have this dream. Oh, maybe if we get to the surface, you and me, we can make it more than a dream.
Well done, sir. Great catch. And that was something that also like really like kind of had us like, oh wow. It starts off with first Pauline being voiced over, right? Pauline talks. Okay, cool. All right, that's awesome. And then to start off with that like musical song that they begin with, and of course she's a singer, so it logically makes sense. But like, oh, that was totally not what I was expecting with this game to start, or for this trailer to start. So I am fascinated and I am all in on this world and where we're going with it. The only thing I was really sort of hoping for, and I understand why they didn't do it, is I would have loved a out now demo where you get like 20 minutes to play it and try it. That would have been an absolute 1-2 punch. But I am all locked in on Donkey Kong Bonanza, and I am so excited to jump into this world. It's days before my birthday, so I'm pretty like stoked, and I'm probably going to pick up that amiibo, despite the fact that my wife just redid our gaming room and like put specific shelves for my amiibos.
What are they going to cost now? 25 or 30?
Oh, I think in Canada they're about $30 or $35 each. I don't know. Listen.
They used to be 13, then they went up to 15 or 16 as normal price, yeah. And then like the new Zelda ones were originally announced as 20, and then went up to 30 when they had the accessory bump, and then with Street Fighter 6 being at 30, getting a bump to 40.
Yeah, so I may have to.
Who knows what the prices are now?
Well, and then I convert that to Canadian, right? And so, to be honest, when I roll in, and if it's, I may end up not doing it, but like
Darth Platypus is $30 in the US, so you're looking at 40.
So it's the 40 Canadian. And the game's going to cost me 100. That's a tough pill to swallow for a statue. A very little statue that I have so many of down in my room that my wife may kill me if I buy another one. Yeah. I think a couple of things I also want to like debrief around this conversation. People were like, oh, so does this mean we're not going to get a Nintendo Direct, right? Because there's always this conversation about Nintendo Direct in June. I don't think this takes away from it all. I think we could still absolutely get a Nintendo Direct.
Yeah, we've had back-to-back weeks with Directs before when one was a specialized or...
Yeah. They very much...
focused Direct.
Yeah. And I think with that much content where it's like over 15 minutes of content, I would rather them say like, it is its own, and I imagine there's some sort of like metric that they have within Nintendo of like, if you are wanting to show content that is over, I don't know, 6 minutes long or whatever, we need to have a special direct for that specifically. And so I wouldn't be shocked. Listen, there are still some pieces of information and dates that are or that are unknown. We still haven't heard from Xbox about what's coming to the Nintendo Switch 2. You know, they have stuff coming. They have stuff cooking. So I still wouldn't be shocked if we get a Nintendo Direct before the end of this month. So, Jesse, any other thoughts or comments on any of that?
Sorry, what was the question? Well,
anything additional that you want to add? Oh, you're great. You're doing great, buddy.
I think, you know, that music thing is the thing I wanted to share, and I do appreciate your reaction to it.
You're welcome. Yeah, not a problem at all. I know you're multitasking. Are we able to get a list of folks?
I was able to get a list of people on Twitch. Let me refresh it to see if anyone else. Nope. So there's 3 people on Twitch. I could not get one on YouTube. YouTube does not share that, so I've been kind of making people in chat,
hey, folks,
as they and I put in the message, hey, if you want to be in the drawing, say something, and I'll get you in.
Yeah,
so I do have a list
100%.
of
okay.
3, 4, 5, 6. I have a list of 9 people right now. We want to do a spin.
9 people. Yeah, let's do a spin. Let's spin me right round, baby, right round for a game. Do you want to share your screen when you do the thing, so that people know that we're not like cheating? Are you able to?
Well, I can share my screen on the video, but I don't think I can share it with you while I'm streaming.
Okay. Oh no, I see it on the video. Oh yeah, you're good. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, you're going to see it with a delay, but. Okay. Here's the spin. And it's going to flip right on the line. Robert Gullison.
So where is Robert right now?
And so if you're still in the chat, say hi and email us, and we'll get you your code.
Yeah, send us an email or a message via either nintendodads@gmail.com or DM us on Twitter or I don't know, whatever channel you're currently on right now. Somehow get a hold of us. Yeah. We've got 2 more codes to give away later, folks.
He just did a woohoo in chat. He saw that he's the winner. So
awesome.
Yeah. Email us and we'll get the code.
Yeah. Awesome. And Robert, let us know if you want a Nintendo Switch code. It's North America, or if you'd like a Steam code. Okay. I've got 2 Nintendo codes and I got 1 Steam code. So, all right, cool. Awesome. Jesse, where do you want to go next? We got topics. Let's do some topics.
Yeah. Let's talk about third party.
Okay. Let's talk about third party. All right. Where do you want to tackle? Do you want to tackle their whining about not selling enough, or do you want to talk about CD Projekt Red doing well? What do you want?
Yeah. And then there's the third kind of sub bullet of third-party software selling better now than on the Switch 1 launch.
Good call.
But some aren't happy with what they're getting. So
right. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about that.
And a lot of people are blaming game keys for that.
100%. So a new report from Chris Drings over at the Game Business highlights a few sales stats for launch games on the recently released Nintendo Switch 2. I'm pulling this directly from Nintendo Life. According to the article, most third-party Switch 2 games posted very low numbers at launch, with the vast majority of players understandably gravitating towards Mario Kart World. As per data from Nelson IQ, 86% of Nintendo Switch 2 games sold were first-party, including Mario Kart World Bundle. If we exclude the bundle, the results would be 48%. Well, in the US, Circana states that 68% of sales were for first party, excluding the bundle. By comparison, launch sales of the Nintendo Switch 1 were at 89% first party in the UK and 81% in the US. So yes, these numbers have dropped, but it's important to note that there is far more physical Switch 2 launches than there were in number Switch 1. So here's what we do have to say though. The best third party game was, as most would probably expect, Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition. Well, Sega's Sega is the third biggest third-party publisher for the Nintendo Switch 2, which include Sonic X Shadow Generations, Yakuza 0 Director's Edition, and Puyo Puyo Tetris 2S. However, one unnamed publisher described initial sales as being as below our lowest estimates, despite remarkable software sales. Okay, so a couple things to unpack there. Not shocking, Cyberpunk 2077, best-selling third-party game. Awesome. Other third-party games not selling nearly as why. Well, Jesse, let's talk about why do we think this is. Because I think there is about 4 different reasons that this is probably occurring, but I'd love to tackle them one by one. Which one do you want to take on first?
Well, I think the key card is the big elephant in the room.
Uh-huh. So let's look at what Cyberpunk has done versus what almost every other third party did. Cyberpunk, all on a 64 gig cart. I think the game is 59 gigs, I think it is. They have a 64 cart. Everything is on the game. That's a big one. Yakuza 0, Sonic Shadow, yada, 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 are all under 64 gigs.
Yeah, and Puyo is probably tiny.
And Puyo is like super tiny. I don't even know if they made I don't know if they made a physical for that one.
Well, probably not.
Are all under 64 gigs. However, they were published, or when they were sent out, they used the key card, the game key card modality.
3.2 gigs for Puyo.
3.2 gigs. Yeah. So what are we able? So and I believe like Yakuza was 32 gigs. So Yakuza was just over it's 39 gigs, I think. I was looking at it earlier. This is why I know these things.
I'm checking it.
Thank you.
Nice age gate. 45.
45. Okay, so 45. I was a little bit off. So they would have had to use a 64 gig cart if they wanted to be all on cart. They chose not to do that.
Right. I think 64 gig cart is the only option. That's
I
what
don't.
I've heard.
I suspect there's a 32 and a 64, because 32 is what the old games used to go on.
Yeah, well, for Switch 1, yeah, but you know, whether it's not to be trusted, but there was a leaked information a few weeks ago about what third parties have for options, and the options were basically 64 gig card, key card, or code in a box. That was literally their only choices.
So then the key card has to be cheaper.
Definitely.
That would be the only reason that you would do this. So then it ends up going down.
Probably is only no more than 10 megs, I would imagine, on that card.
Right. So then that ends up being to a point now where what you're doing is you're doing cost benefit analysis, right? You're doing return of investment. So let's use an example. Publisher says, I'm going to use Yakuza 0 as an example. If we put it on the game, we're going to sell for $40. And again, I don't know this. I'm just using it as math. All right. Use an example here. We're going to sell it for $40. Well, if we put it on a 64 gig card, we actually only make $20. Okay. Because of the cost of the card. But if we put it on a key card, we're going to make $25. So math be mathin', business be businessin', and they're like, I'm going to make more. Our margins are going to be stronger if I put it on a key card, which unfortunately, though, is not consumer friendly in relation to knowing the audience. The audience of Nintendo fans, when you look at the demographics, of they're only at a 50% digital rate for downloading games, are still very, very strong in relation to physical games. They want full physical games on cart. They don't want this like weird ownership key card thing that you end up doing.
Good.
I think that Sega really missed the boat here, and I think what's happening, and I don't know for sure. I would suspect any third-party publisher worth their weight right now is actively looking at the responses of what went well at launch and what didn't go well at launch for third parties, and the result being all on cart is a better idea than this key card stuff. So by the way, when we get over to whatever Xbox is doing or whatever Square is going to end up doing, put it all on the cart.
Yeah, because when like Dragon Quest 1 and 2, I pre-ordered the collector's edition of that. I have the option of Switch 1 or Switch 2 version.
Yep.
Switch 1 comes with game on cart, as you'd expect. Switch
Yep.
2 is a game key. So I'm like, and I've heard of people saying, I'm just going to buy the Switch 1 version because it's already there. I still went with the Switch 2 version because I'd be downloading it anyway. If I wasn't buying the collector's edition, I'd just be downloading it digitally. So ultimately it doesn't matter to me. But I get why people are upset over it.
Yeah, and totally, right. And so my theory is this, right, is the fact that the other thing I would also say for those games that were published, and maybe the data is actually the opposite of this, which is you can probably get all the third-party games that were published cheaper somewhere else. But Nintendo fans sort of want that opportunity of saying, hey, I can take it on the go the way that I want it to. And so I think that this is going to cause, let's be honest, this is going to cause some third-party publishers who were getting games on the Switch, and I've said this earlier a few weeks ago, there be money in them hills, who's taking that modality and seeing that their sales are not what they're meeting. They're going to be shocked, and now they're going to say, well, actually, is it worth our time and energy to put our games over on the Nintendo Switch because we're not making the return of investment,
okay,
right?
You're going to like this.
Okay,
so
I'm ready.
Yakuza 0 Director's Cut, $50, right?
Yep. On the Switch 2?
On the Switch 2. Went to the PlayStation Store.
Mm-hmm.
For the same $50, you can buy the Yakuza Complete series, which is Yakuza 0, Kiwami, Kiwami 2, 3 remastered, 4 remastered, 5 remastered, 6. So it's not the complete edition of 0, but still, you get 7 games.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not short games either.
Yeah. So there'll be money in these hills. I think this is going to have third-party publishers a little bit more cautious. Ultimately, and we all say, hey, I want this I want this game to come over to the console. Man, why won't this game come over? The business part of it is that somewhere there is some accountant at some publisher who literally has to crunch the numbers and say, does that actually make sense for us to do that? What's the cost? What is it going to cost us? And what do we actually project our highs and lows in relation to our sales numbers that make it an actual feasible decision for us to do this? Prior to the Nintendo Switch 2 launch, there was no actual data to determine whether those sales on a new console would work the way they wanted them to. But third-party publishers said, there'll be money in those hills, and we know how big the original Switch was. We don't want to miss the boat here. We need to be there. We need to have games available. We need to have them in the eShop. We need for people to be ready to purchase them. So they did that, and they figured out what the ROI was, and they figured out how much money they can get back, and they went with the option that makes them the most money.
Yeah, I'm sure whatever calculus they used, it was very extensive.
And they probably this is not putting the player first. This is putting the business first.
Oh, right.
And I think what we see from
accountants wouldn't care about the players,
right? I think what we see but here's the deal: the accountant would have said these are the two options. You decide what you want to do, and ultimately a board, a president, someone, director says yes, we're going to do this because X, Y, Z. It's better for our stockholders, better for our profit margins. But if you distinguishedly look at like what CD Projekt Red has done with Cyberpunk 2077 is we are going to do what is best for the player. We're going to do what we believe is the best game that we can provide in this console. And even like and again, like I did the unboxing for that. In there is an actual note from the director about all the DLC that's in there. It is a complete edition with all the DLC. There's stickers. Like they made it something that as a individual that drew me to that decision. Right. And I think it does such a great job of showing off the Switch as well. Right. Like the ability that the game ends up having. I want to ask you this question, though, Jesse, because ultimately, and I was having a bit of a conversation with our good friend, Victor Lucas from Electric Playground. He said, like, publishers put the games all on Kart. Fair play. I 100% agree with that, Vic. Like, you and I are on the same page. But my question that I had to Vic, and I haven't got a tweet back yet from him, but I'm sure I will because he's good. And I'm curious about your thoughts here, Jesse. But what happens when we know that's not an option? And so I'll give you a great example. If we know Split Fiction was 79 gigs, or sorry, 79, I apologize, 69 gigs, couldn't fit on the 64 gig card, what do you do then? Like, does Nintendo go, hey, or as a publisher, do you say like, hey, we need a bigger cartridge, right? Like I know you did 64. Do you got a 96 sitting around in the back that we could use instead? Like, is there another step up that we can do for cartridge? Or do we end up saying, listen, it's all download. Sorry, it's just all download. Or as I saw someone on Twitter say, I love this, put it on 2 carts, right? Like what is, and so the reason I'm asking this question is I'm thinking forward. No, I'm thinking forward to later this year, Final Fantasy VII is coming out from Square. We know this. They've told us this.
Yes.
I doubt that game is going to be 64 gigs. It's going to be larger than 64 gigs, probably. Go check.
I don't see. I don't even know if Nintendo has it yet, but I can at least look at what PlayStation is.
Ultimately, my question is this. What does a publisher do? Because the reaction is we don't like this game key stuff. P.S. That's a lot of gigs I have to download and use up space on my console. That might end up being a barrier unto itself. And you can't have it on a cartridge. Like, what do you do? I sort of love the idea of 2 cartridges. It makes me laugh.
Yeah, but unless you're going to do a mid-game swap like we had to do back on the PS1 version of Final Fantasy VII, because it came with 3 discs. What do you put in disc? You have like an install cart, so and then it copies the data to the system, and then you have a play cart to play based on data on the cart and what's stored on the system. That would probably be the way to do it, but still, it's again, PlayStation, Xbox has installed games since last gen, so there's nothing new there. But for Nintendo, it would be new.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to find out.
You're finding that. While you're doing that, I want to say this. If you are a publisher or a developer who is developing for the Nintendo Switch 2, and I know we have friends who listen to the show who do those things, and you know what Nintendo's price is for their carts, whether it's 32 cart, 64 cart, key cart, I would love to know what they are pricing those things at from an actual, like, when they end up having a conversation with a publisher, like, hey, 64 cart costs $4 every single time. Key cart costs $1. 32 gig costs $2. I would love to know what is the price breakdown at the cart level. Because I think that's a fascinating conversation. Like, is it so outrageous that the 64 cart is so much more expensive to develop?
That's something I'm sure is heavily NDA'd.
Oh, I'm sure it's heavily NDA'd, right? So if someone's just sliding to my DMs and I won't tell you who it was, that's cool.
Yeah. So PlayStation
I would be
5
curious.
version of 7 Remake is 81 gigs, which is less than the PS4 version, which is 86 gigs. And that includes the integrate version, which is what we're getting on Switch 2.
There's no way they can squeeze that thing down by 20 gigs, right? Unless they have like some magic from the HAL team who's able to like fold that thing like into itself.
Not if they still want to support full 4K. I think the texture packs are going to be pretty identical. So I think Nintendo is going to have to come up with a 96 gig or a 128 gig option down the road as these games will get bigger.
So is that the option? But here's the deal though. Here's the rub. Here's ultimately the rub. If they end up going to a 96 gig cart, that will ultimately cost more money. So then I can tell you,
and then there'll be $80 games and people's going to complain about that.
Yeah, that cost will be moved on the customer. There'll be $8 games. We'll all have our hands in. This isn't what I wanted. Right? Like, key cards. This isn't what I wanted. Like you can't win or lose. Right? So there is no scenario here that actually satisfies consumers. Right? Right? Am I wrong? Is there something I'm missing here?
Everyone's going to be complaining about something.
Yeah, 100%. So I don't know. Here's my answer. If you're a publisher or developer listening to us right now, put it all on a cart. Even if it costs you a little bit more money, ultimately in the end, you're probably going to sell more and it's going to make up the difference than by you making a decision that is not great.
I would love to Square change their mind about Dragon Quest 1 and 2 and just decides to put that on a cart. I'm sure because there's no way that game should be that more than 64.
Yeah. All I'm saying is like the audience doesn't want that. They are still physical collectors. So put it on the cart. If you're not going to put it on the cart, it's just downloadable, like Timothy Off. He is our fully downloadable Nintendo dad who is still at a baseball game.
It's all done. How's it going?
Live from the parking lot, ladies and gentlemen.
Parking lot outside the stadium.
Oh my gosh. Did you win? Did your team win the sports ball?
No,
8-4 in the
not.
10th.
Oh,
no, because of a stupid umpire call.
Wow, blame it on the Empire. Gee.
Yep, I'm going to do that.
That doesn't feel very nice.
No, it probably wouldn't have mattered, but still it was a blatantly bad call.
Okay.
So it was just one of those things.
Gotcha.
I just put it back on the game from MLB.TV, and there's umpires yelling at people in the dugout right now. Or maybe it's a coach. I don't know. Someone dressed in black.
They also threw out a fan because after the bad call, they were yelling at the Pirates players, and the Pirates players just started pointing at some Detroit fans, and they kicked out one of them.
Oh, wow.
It was crazy.
Cool.
So what's going
awesome. Sorry, I was just reading the chat. I'm bad. Robert's in Australia. Congratulations, Robert. Well, Tim, what have you missed? We talked about Donkey Kong Bonanza. We gave away a code already for Lost and Random. And we're talking about how third-party publishers are not happy that their games are not selling as well as they want to on the Nintendo Switch 2. Oddly enough, the games that are not fully on cart, but are rather key cart ones. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, everybody's talking with their pocketbook, so with their wallets.
Yeah.
So, that's 100%. The way that's what people should be doing. If they want physical carts with the games on there, if they want companies like the company that Cyberpunk
CD Projekt Red.
Yes, they put it all on one cart. They spent the money. They put it out there. That tells you something, I would think.
And
right?
they're being rewarded for it. It is the number one selling third-party game. And as a person who's been playing it for 5 or 6 hours now, I am loving my time with it. It's absolutely fantastic. And they did well. They did very, very well. But while you're here, and I know you've probably got to head off soon to wipe away your tears in relation to your baseball thing, there is a headline that did come up, but I want to make sure that you're fully aware of it. Tim, are you sitting down? Are you able to sit down? Metroid Prime 4 is out now.
I saw that.
Metroid Prime 4, I repeat, is out now.
It is not out until I have my hands on it.
In the London subway is where it is out now. So for those of you who do not know, there is a sign in the like one of the people who put up posters like promoting stuff on walls, right? And as advertisements. And in a London subway, the tubes, there is a large sign that says that is part of the official Nintendo, artwork and promotional material that says Metroid Prime 4 out now. And it is not out now, which has led a lot of speculations to, is this going to be a shadow drop right away that we didn't expect and it occurs? That's actually just what people think. Let's just take a pause here. I mean, obviously it's not out. We have the sign that's up. Is this did this person accidentally put a sign up a day or two or a week too early? Or is it actually a couple months way too early? And tomorrow they're going to get a phone call, be like, Mark, go down to the tube and take down the poster you put up, you yank. What are you doing? Right? Come on now. Jesus, go on now. Right? Is that what's going to happen? Is Mark going to get a phone call and he's got to go do that? I don't know. Tim, what do you think here? What's going on?
That was awesome.
Also, I apologize. I apologize if anyone in the UK felt like that was hurtful and not accurate. That is the best quick British English impression I was able to do on a short notice. That is all. And I do know we have some amazing fans over in the UK that if I just offended, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Sorry, we'll get them on the show.
John and Jason and all tons of sorry.
They can come talk Canadian, and see
how
that goes.
Send your disrespectful voice messages out to me right now. It's fine. It's fine.
Oh, I think it might have been somebody pointed out in some of the threads that I read that it's probably just copied over type print because it was on the Mario Kart poster right next to it. The same out now, same exact thing. That it just got unfortunately carried over, they thought, and put it on there. And so somebody, could be fired.
I am going to give you my speculation. You want to hear this, Tim?
Sure. That's why I got on here.
This is part of my worldly travels that I know. In North America, we lead with month, date, year 061925. In Europe, they lead with day, month, year. So what if the packaging that was sent out had the numbers reversed accidentally, or the individual who happened to be putting it up there, it was actually from North America like I was, it's Mark, and he doesn't know how to read European translations of times, and he put it up wrong. He or she, by the way, I don't want to assume, by the way, that's only men doing this work. Puts it up the wrong date because those numbers are inverted. And in actuality, ladies and gentlemen, the game is coming out in September Or yeah, in September or something like that. September, October, or November. I don't think it's gonna be October. So November.
We looked in the
September,
pre-show.
November.
November 6th is a Thursday.
November 6th is a Thursday. So what if it arrived no, it would arrive 6/11. And so it's already printed and they just happen to have it in the shop. It's also crazy. It's printed like 5 months in advance, but whatever. You're on mute, Tim. I don't know if you're really just like astounded by what I was thinking there.
No, it makes sense. I could see that somebody who's not used to the date first and then the month.
Yeah.
Second,
right. Like when I moved there, that messed me up for a while. And then someone told me and I was like, all right, I got to go let my dog out. He just rang a bell to go pee. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Right. And I was saying that it does not surprise me if something like that has been printed so early, but it would surprise me if something's been shipped out of the warehouse so early and expect them to hold on to it for 5 months and not do anything with it. So I don't know.
Right. Unless it was like next month or something like that. But they thought it was June 7th instead of July 6th. I don't know what date that is, but or what day that would land on. But still, yeah, I get it.
July
you guys already
6th
looked
is a
at
Sunday.
those? Sunday, okay. So that wouldn't work, right? I don't know. I think it's just a misprint thing, and I mean, hey, I think it would be fantastic if like this coming week they do a full direct and they do a shadow drop. That would be amazing. Like a digital shadow drop and then physical comes in a couple months.
I like, here's the deal. I love the thought of that. They are not going to do that.
No.
They have spent how many years preparing for this game? It is part of their strategy in their campaign. They have invested a ton of time. They are not just going to randomly shadow drop this on a Thursday. This is going to be part of the next direct. Metroid Prime 4, we're excited to release date is November 6th. Whatever, like that is going to be.
They're going to make a big deal out of it.
Yeah, it's a big deal. They're going to have a whole campaign. They're going to do an entire Nintendo Direct, probably related around it. Again, they have spent how many years in development on this thing? They want to sell as many copies of this as possible. They are not going to put this in any spot that's going to cannibalize their own sales of other games or that another game has majorly just came out. I would be shocked, and I've said before, I think this is a September game. Y'all know I've said this is a September game. I'm wondering, and again, if I go back to my theory, this may be the November game, which is crazy because I thought Pokemon was a November game, but they've moved that into October. That for me is weird. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Hey, let me ask you another Tim, earlier this week, Tom Marks from over at IGN gave the Nintendo Switch 2 a 7 out of 10 on the IGN review scale. Do you care?
No.
Awesome. Moving on. Jesse. Right. I'm sorry, but like, and that's sort of how I feel about that, right? Like, and nothing against Tom, nothing against IGN.
Yeah.
If they review, like we're just gonna have like a big boy dad talk for a second. All right, let's dad in for a second, which is,
I think the comparison is they gave the PlayStation Portal an 8.
I don't care.
Right.
right. Like big boy dad talk here is not everyone's gonna have the same opinion about everything, and it's okay if someone doesn't like the same thing you like the same way.
The two reviews were done by two different people that have two different likes.
Probably 100%. Right. And reviews are subjective to individuals. And if you're like, I don't believe in that, remember, I'm the idiot who gave Mario Odyssey an 11 out of 10. All right. And so the statement here that I have is reviews are subjective. And if you're just looking for confirmation bias and you're not getting the confirmation bias that you think, then you need to check yourself. It's okay that other people don't like the things that you like and that they have differing opinions about it. Welcome to being an adult. And welcome to like being mature about it. So if you're upset that he gave the Nintendo Switch 2 a 7 out of 10, go form your own video game website and give it whatever you want to give it. All right. But like simmer down.
Well, that's why we also got the opinions of everybody else too. Like after the week we've had it, Anybody who was fortunate enough to get a Switch 2, we said, hey, here's our opinions, but what's the communities? And then everybody had all these varying different things, and we read them all off.
Yeah.
And there were some people who were like, this is fantastic. This is what I wanted in a Switch, and all that kind of stuff. And there were some people who were let down.
Yeah.
So, and it's going to be that way. And that's the way it goes.
The way it goes. That is all the oxygen I want to give to that. But I know people were like, well, IGN gave it a 7. That's what they gave it then. That's fine. It doesn't matter. Right. Jesse, talk to me about Nintendo bricking Nintendo Switches because they're using a cartridge that they shouldn't be using.
Okay, so last year, the MiG Switch, MiG Switch came out. We opted to not talk about it. Basically, what it allows you to do is with an extra peripheral called a dumper, you could use it. Connect it to your
dumper.
Connect it to your computer. Put in a Switch game into it, and the contents gets copied into a folder on your PC. Then you can put that folder into a micro SD card. Put the micro SD card into the MiG Switch, which is shaped like a Switch cartridge, and you can put it in your Switch 1 and play your game on it. And if you have multiple games on it, depending on the version of MiG Switch you have to eject it and put it back in to switch games, or there's a button you can push that can switch games. For science, I bought one to test it out, but I never actually
used science.
It. I've never actually I used it enough so I can put multiple games on it from my own collection and cycle through them and saw this works, but I was still reluctant to actually play the games from it. So that was my extent to it. Then when Switch 2 launched, there was rumors already saying if you put it in a MiG Switch, it will brick the system. Then so SpawnWave tested it out. No, it didn't brick the system, but the game switching took a little effort. It wasn't as immediate as it was on the Switch 1. So basically, like the Switch detected it was a MiG Switch and tried to fight against reading the data or something along those lines. Then MiG Switch had a firmware update that's supposed to let it work with the Switch 2. So people have been doing that. I did not. I haven't looked into it. I don't know what that process looks like. But now the result, people are saying that their Switch is being banned from the network. And they try to load any game, and it's just get an error message saying they can't, so the Switch has been basically deactivated.
Yeah, and I mean, it was well known Nintendo was not a fan of you modding or adjusting any of their firmware or hardware.
Which the whole point of the MiG Switch, if properly used, lets you do all this without modding anything.
Yeah.
Like in my Switch 1, my OLED is not modded. It is still stock. It just happened to have a MiG Switch in it at one point.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you guys think? Tim, Jesse, is this what do you think of this deal? It looks like you're just wandering through the streets aimlessly, Tim. Like, are you being chased by zombies? Like, what's going on here, buddy? You okay?
Oh my gosh.
Right? He's not moving with that much urgency.
No.
Yeah, but I'm not.
I'm going to my parking spot. So
gotcha.
But no, yeah, I mean, I think this is bound to happen, regardless of whether it was going to be a Switch 2 or just on the regular Switch. Nintendo is always fighting against their stuff like this. So everybody take the chance, and then they get it bricked.
I don't know if it's possible for them to know if the MiG Switch into Switch 1, but it sounds like they can determine it with a Switch 2. Again, if you do it the way you're supposed to, because each copy of a game comes with a unique key. We knew this because that's how you got your gold coins from it. Yeah. And when you rent a game from the library and you try to claim the coins, it says, "Oh, someone already got the coins. Sorry," because each cartridge has a unique key. So that that key is part of the data packet that's saved in the folder from the dumper. So again, so if you're the only one ever playing the game, Nintendo shouldn't know because only the one copy is being played at a time. But if you download some random garbage off the internet that 100,000 other people are playing, and Nintendo says, "Hey, this copy of this game is being played 100,000 times at the same time," that can't be legit, and we'll disable that key and shut them all down, including the original source cartridge. As a result,
I'm not shocked, right?
No,
like you roll the dice, and you're gonna get your hands slapped. So, all right, well, folks, let's jump on to our coming soon section. But Jesse, before we do that, I believe more folks have been added into the chat, and we've got 2 more codes for Lost in Random, the Eternal Die. I've got 2 more North American Switch codes. Thank you, Robert. He's already reached out to me, and I've already sent him the Steam code. He is probably already putting it into Steam right now and getting ready to play, which is fantastic. So we've got 2 more codes to give away. Jesse, we're going to give 1 more code away to someone in our chat. Now, this one, again, will be specifically for the Nintendo Switch, and it is specifically for North American Nintendo Switch. So I want to just put people out there for as well. So, I have nothing to say to you other than,
so
just be aware.
Yeah, so I have been monitoring chat and adding new people I see into it. I now have 11 entries. I've shuffled the list a few times, and I'll give it a spin.
Okay, spin big money, big money, big money.
Here, Bear.
Beer, some
literally just added him.
Well done, sir. Well done, Beer. Drop us a DM, or Beer, just DM me on Discord, and I will send you a code for Lost in Random, the Eternal Die. Tim is actually going to be doing our first look coverage on that coming very, very soon. So if you are waiting for that game, let us know. But we have got 1 more code. We're going to give it away in a little bit as well. So Beer, DM me and I'll send you a code and we be good. All right. Let's jump through our upcoming releases just for people to be aware of. Out now, Date Everything is on the Nintendo Switch. As I mentioned before, Lost in Random, the Eternal Die is out now as well. And out soon, Frontier Mission 3 Remake coming June 26th. Tamagotchi Plaza on Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2 coming on June 27th. And then later we have Patapon 1 and 2 Replay. That's July 11th. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4. That's on July 11th for Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2. Donkey Kong Bonanza, which I talked about earlier, on Nintendo Switch 2 on July 17th. Super Mario Party Jamboree Nintendo Switch 2 Edition plus Jamboree TV comes out on June 24th. Sorry, I apologize, July 24th, which means if you have Nintendo Jamboree or Mario Party Jamboree, the upgrade to the Jamboree TV Nintendo Switch 2 edition will be paid at that point, and I think costs about $20 or $25, which we found in the eShop. Madden NFL 26 coming to Nintendo Switch 2 on August 14th, which I know Mr. Timothy Alf is super excited for. Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalence Chronicles? Question mark? Ivalice Chronicles.
Yeah, it's
September
the name of the
30th.
region that the game is played under.
Oh, okay. All right.
Also
Pokemon
Final
Z.
Fantasy 12.
Oh, okay. Pokemon ZA, October 16th. Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D Remake, October 30th. And Mina the Hollower was revealed for October 31st as well. Lots of great games coming up. There are some other games in here that were actually recently announced coming to the Nintendo Switch 2 that we ended up playing at PAX, including Constance, which I believe is the late part of November. And so we'll add that as well eventually. As I mentioned before, we have a lot of first looks on videos. We have been putting out a ton of content on our YouTube channel since the Nintendo Switch launch. I think we have put down at least 1 video every single day, including several shorts as well. Not only on actual games, but also on accessories that we've been trying out as well. So if you're looking for more Nintendo Switch information for Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2, and want to know how to spend your money, head over to NintendoDads on our YouTube channel and check that stuff out. Jesse, I think that's it for our news. Should we head over to what we've been playing?
Sure.
Do it. Jesse, I'm going to start with you, and then I'll ask Tim if he wants to have a conversation in the space. I know he is currently driving as well, so I want to make sure that he is fully paying attention and playing his own game of Mario Kart World online as he's driving his car, but it's just called Tim Driving World Online. And we want to make sure he's staying safe as well. Jesse, what have you been playing here that's new that we should all be aware of?
I finished Picross, Juufuutei Raden's guide for the Pixel Museum. It just like other Jupiter Picross games, they have like 150 normal puzzles, and then they would have a series of clip Picross. So it's a big puzzle, but you're solving like 20 or 30 smaller things within it that all add up together to this big thing. So they have the section is called Memories, which it works as the clip Picross. So each memory has 20 or 25 puzzles in it, and it's like something she's done in her VTubing career, whether it's collabing with another VTuber at a sake tasting event or things like that. And then so she has a little commentary about her, what she liked about it, her experience with it, her, what she liked about the other VTubers, etc. So I didn't listen to, I kind of got sick of her chatting, and so I stopped reading her commentary. I just went through the puzzles, but if I wanted to go back and reread them, I could. Okay, then so again, I forget who it was, sorry, but someone reached out to me saying, hey, there's a new not Jupiter Picross game that came out. Have you tried it yet? I'm like, I have not heard of this, so I'll download it and give it a try. It's called Squeakross Home Squeak Home. So the premise is you're this mouse who moves into his new house, empty room, like Animal Crossing and then it has locked doors, and then so you're able to solve puzzles from a catalog to then order the items to place in your house. And then you get so far in, you unlock a second room. You get so far in, you unlock a third room. And so it starts off with one catalog that has 150 items. Once you get far enough in, it gives you the option of doing the same 150 puzzles again with a more complicated puzzle. Like the item is like twisted or skewed in some way, so it doesn't look like the item until you solve it and you see it, and then reorient itself and like, oh yeah, that's the table I solved an hour ago. But I've done the first 150 puzzles. I'm going through the second time now with the harder variant. When I got about so there's 300 puzzles total in the first catalog. When I got about 160 puzzles in, it unlocked a second catalog that has 350 puzzles. So 25 more puzzles times 2. I don't know if there's going to be a third book or if that's it. But they were, the question was, you've had problems with non-Jupiter Picross games before with how the UI works and quality of life improvements and whatnot. So I want to know if this is good. And he's heard that there was some bugs, and like, yeah, there's some bugs, but there's ways to circumvent them. But ultimately, it controls fine. It controls just like a Jupiter game does. You can't push X to mark, which I do like with with Jupiter games. But other than that, the controls are the same. It works the same. The only issue that I came across was, and it's a known issue, they said they'll update it in a future patch, but if you have automatically cross out rows or columns with a 0, when you try to load that puzzle, it will soft lock the game and never load.
Oh, okay.
So to get around it, just don't use that option and mark the row or column with X's yourself. But and I don't know if it's the game, my system, or something else, but for a bit there, the game would go like act like it's trying to pair another controller and says push A and B, push L and R on the controller you want to use, and I would do it, and then like 30 seconds later it would do it again. It would do it again. It would do it again. So I noticed it happened after I paired my Switch 1 Pro controller to the Switch 2, even though I wasn't touching it or using it. So I've
Interesting.
then unpaired it. I repaired that Pro controller to the Switch 1, and it still happens, but it has happened much more rarely. And I put it in the Steam discussion group saying that's what's happening to me, and the author goes, "That's weird. I don't think it's the game. You have other controllers that are accidentally getting hit, but the only controllers I have paired is the Pro controller and the two Joy-Cons that are currently attached to the system in the dock, so nothing's touching that. So I'm not sure what happened there."
Gotcha.
Did you use mouse controls? No, because it is a Switch 1 game. It had not been enhanced for Switch 2. Is there a sweat and blood code? No. Okay, so yeah, let me look and see how much it costs real quick. Squeak Home. It was a $15 game, so not too pricey. It's about the normal price for a 600 puzzle Picross game.
Gotcha.
Okay. And then the last game I played the chapter 2 of Puyo Tetris 2S.
What do you think of that?
I'm liking it. I'm kind of slow rolling that story mode. I remember playing the first Puyo Tetris. I got to a point where I couldn't continue because I had to be a Puyo master to win the game, and I am not. So
Right.
I'm sure I'll get to a point where that's going to happen as well. But see, I'm just starting chapter 3, so it'll be a bit before I get that far.
Cool. Got it.
I still plan on doing a Deltarune video at some point. Hope to be able to do that this weekend.
And I think I asked this question last time, Jesse. Did they ever just come out with 3 and 4, or do you have to buy like a whole?
I think
the whole package?
I haven't logged in to verify this, but I think if you buy the game, you get all 4 chapters.
Because I've already got 1 and 2 because they were free.
Yeah, 1 and 2 were free. I think 3 and 4 are now. I don't know if I think it's just an update, but now you have to pay for it.
Okay.
So it might.
I'm just curious if it adds
now.
A separate thing. Okay, yeah, I'd be curious.
So I don't know if it's only 3 and 4 because I can, but I'll definitely check that when I do finally get to launching the game and see what my options are.
Okay.
But cool. Yeah, 1 and 2 chapters 1 and 2 are free, and I played them on Steam when they were new back in the day, like 6 and 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And then 3 and 4 we knew was going to be a paid, and I think there's supposed to be 5 chapters total. When chapter 5 comes out, it'll just be a free add-on to the paid 3 and 4. He's not going to make us pay again.
Right. Okay. Very cool. Thanks, Jesse. Appreciate that. Tim, I do see you're driving, or as folks are saying, it feels like it's GTA Tim that we're watching right now. Do you want to have a conversation about Mario Kart World, or do you want me to talk?
We can talk together about it, because I know we got to play
together.
a little bit online.
We did.
We play a little bit online together.
Yeah, so let's talk about Mario Kart World. I think it was a Friday or something last week. The community jumped online. I think you were doing part of the NSO group, right? And I was able to jump in, and that experience was seamless. That was easy to jump in, had a lot of fun playing. I think we had it was open lobbies of 24, plus I think we had 24 folks on a game, and then we had about 9 Nintendo Dad community members, which was freaking awesome. I love that. Love seeing that as well. Tim, what's been your experience with Mario Kart World? How are you feeling about it? We're a couple weeks in now.
Yeah, it's the online with people is definitely a lot of fun. And it's everybody's on the level ground, it seems like, right? Because this is new for everybody. Even if you played the previous Mario Karts, there's still some nuances there that it's a little bit different, to where you still are trying to figure out probably the best person and the best cart and all that kind of stuff. But everybody's on a level playing field. So I was able to win a couple first place matches that I can't remember if you did or not. I think you did. or got first place, in some places.
Yeah.
So, and then everybody got pretty much a chance to get first place, and it was a good fight too. And it's between the cup races or the Grand Prix and the knockout. And I think a lot of people are really digging the knockout, especially in multiplayer.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree. I thought it was a ton of fun to play online. Playing online's great. I found just jumping in and playing on any match is great. Always better when you're playing with friends, right? Like just quite simply that. And to be able to have sort of that, throw in shade where you can as well. So I thought it was absolutely great. And so, how are you liking like the rest of it, like free roam and sort of the rest of the cups and stuff like that?
So I'll add one more thing too. When we did the NSO, the four of us on the NSO team, we were doing the game chat thing too, and that was still seamless along with everybody else jumping into the game beyond just us four players. And we had our faces in the circles and all that kind of stuff. So that was a lot of fun with the cameras, just like the arcade Mario Kart. You can see everybody's faces when you're driving.
Yeah.
So I'm enjoying free roam actually, because I got to unlock some characters that way. I got to unlock at least like the different outfits you can wear. I went through Bowser and was driving around and picking up a lot of the different meals you can get from Yoshi to get the different outfits. So I unlocked all of Bowser's. I think I'm missing one or two for Mario. So I just started getting the idea behind it. I wasn't grasping it at first when other people were talking about it. I was like, get the meals, get the hamburgers. What are you guys talking about? So I was trying to figure that out. And then finally I realized, I have to be that character in order to unlock their outfits.
Right.
And then the other things that happen too is you do unlock characters if that wizard character makes you one of the characters.
Yep.
So then you end up unlocking the character there, which I did during our run online. So it's fun discovering all these things, unlocking characters that way, or unlocking carts from all the games I've been playing, coming back into the main hub and then finding out, hey, you earned 1,500 coins, you unlocked a vehicle, or other than just doing the trophies in the Grand Prix or the knockouts. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, 100%. I've been enjoying my time with it as well. I have unlocked the secret circuit. I'll just leave it at that. For those of you who have not, there is an ability to unlock that, which is very cool. Great sort of climax to the end of the game. Kind of just fantastic. Continue to say that, like, Nintendo, just put the soundtrack out now on the Nintendo Music app, please, for the love of Pete. And what I already heard from Donkey Kong Bonanza, the soundtrack that's being used there, the remixes, please just fast follows. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, just a week later, just put it in there. That would just be tremendous. All right. Because these remixes you're doing to these songs are hitting. As the kids say, this is fire and it slaps.
Yes.
All right. So do that. Please do that.
I don't understand the purpose behind holding back that soundtrack. Why wouldn't you just put out the soundtrack day one with the game?
Yeah.
It doesn't. I don't understand the business aspect of that.
Yeah. In a returning segment that we have coined from another show and an amazing content creator friend of ours who passed years ago. If I ran Nintendo, I would be having those soundtracks put out right away when the game releases. I do it like a couple weeks afterwards, just so we continue that hype as well. I've loved my time with Mario Kart World. Like you, I'm unlocking areas. I find like some of those P-switch activities in free roam, some of them are hard, like really hard. And I have to be like super locked in for them. And actually in some of them, I'm like, no, I'm not going to try this like just in handheld mode. I want to be like in front of my computer with my proper pro controller and ready to go, bro. And so, continue to have a great time with it. I am super interested in, what does the long-term strategy of this game look like? are we going to experience in a year from now a new island that pops up on the world and there's a bridge, right, that you can drive across to, and that's part of the interconnectivity? Like, are we going to continue to add new continents to this world over the next 8 years of the Switch life and inevitably end up with like 64, tracks, right? And all these different variations of it as well.
There seems to be space for some more, to the world.
Yep.
You may not be looking for or expect. Maybe people are driving around looking for those things, but it seems like there would be some space for something to pop up, or for even, in previous games they had Zelda in the Mario Kart game, so maybe there would be an island or something that you could
a Hyrule island.
Hyrule, yeah.
Yeah. I think this is a game that I'm hoping Nintendo does not do this game dirty like they did with Animal Crossing. Right? I'm really hoping that they really have an effective strategy with this game and have people coming back to it. And I think they know how popular this IP is for them, how much of a moneymaker it is, and I think they have a strategy, but I am very curious to see what that is. And I think it'll be almost like a year before we get new carts. But I also wonder, could there be tie-ins like when Nintendo releases Donkey Kong Bonanza? This will be their first, IP on the Nintendo Switch 2 console. Is there tie-ins? Like, does Igit Island all of a sudden show up for a limited time for 2 months or whatever, or is now an addition? Like, is it added? Oh, by the way, now the Animal Crossing Island has shown up, and that's part of it. Like, is all of the IPs that Nintendo has now becomes kind of connected into Mario Kart World and these sort of expanding continents of the Nintendo franchises?
So, it's definitely going to be fun to see where it goes.
Yeah, 100%.
And hopefully it goes somewhere.
Yeah, right. Hopefully it goes somewhere. A couple of the games I will highlight that I've been playing. I'm playing Yakuza Dragon. What is this? The Director's Edition? What do they call that? I saw you putting the words in there.
Complete edition or something? I don't know. I'm
Director's Cut. There it is. Director's. No, you're fine.
I'm
Yakuza Zero
multitasking
Director's
again.
Cut. Yeah, I played about 3 hours of it. I hadn't played a Yakuza game before. It's fun. It's a brawler, right? You walk around, get assigned tasks, and you go into some pretty crazy fights. And, here's 12 guys in this room, and you need to beat them up before they beat you up. And it's kind of fun, right? Takes place in the 1980s. In Japan. Yeah, it's fun. I put hours into it. I enjoyed the hours I'm putting into it. It's not necessarily drawing me back, right? I don't actively think I need to go back to that, but I'm if I've got maybe a bit of time. Well, I'll be honest with you. If I look at the games I'm playing on the Nintendo Switch 2, it's on the low part of the list. I played it to understand whether it was something that I could recommend it. I do think it's fun. But I would more strongly recommend something like Cyberpunk 2077, which I can highly recommend because I've played about 6 hours of that game, 5 or 6 hours of that, and I have absolutely been loving it, and it performs fantastically on the Switch. I have had no issues, and it is such a cool experience, and I am sucked into that world. And if you have played Cyberpunk 2077, Johnny Silverhand has shown up, and Keanu Reeves is Johnny Silverhand. No surprise, because this was revealed at an E3 event 5 years ago. And it is
You're
CD Projekt. Sorry?
You're breathtaking.
Yeah, that was 100% right. CD Projekt Red did exactly what they needed to demonstrate how third-party games can have success on Nintendo Switch. What was consumer or player friendly, the best thing for the consumer, which they did, and it's showing up and it's delivering. And I think it's an absolutely fantastic game, and I highly recommend it. I know some people said I've been having an issue with it, or I've had these glitches and stuff like that. I've had no problems with it whatsoever, and I think it's fantastic. I'd highly recommend it.
I'm definitely looking forward to playing that one. It's on my wish list. Maybe I'll get it for my birthday. I don't know. But
good segue, because your birthday is tomorrow, right, Timothy?
Yes. Yep.
Right on,
Big
right
5-0.
Big 5-0. Nice. Well, before we jump over to sing happy birthday to Tim, which we're not going to, I am remiss that I actually missed a news item that I think is worth our conversation. Mikey Burgett in the chat like spammed it a couple of times, being like, don't forget about this, because I do think it's interesting. So we're going to flip back to news for 1 second. We don't need to use bumpers, but I want to make you kind of aware of this really interesting news item. That an investigation in Colorado reveals about $1.4 million worth of Nintendo Switch 2s have been stolen from the back of a truck. So on June 8th, deputies were called to Love's Traveler Stop in Bennett, and a semi-truck driver made a stop there and was doing a pre-trip inspection when he noticed his trailer had been broken into and several pallets of the Nintendo Switch 2 were stolen. Deputies discovered that 2,810 Nintendo Switch 2 consoles were taken from the back of the truck. And with a retail price of approximately $499, that is well over $1 million worth of inventory that was lost. The Nintendo Switch 2 was just releasing just days before that, and we're in high demand as well. So no one has been caught. No one has claimed it. But if someone is offering you a Nintendo Switch 2 for about $200 and it looks a little sketchy, it may be a little sketchy if you're living in Colorado. So
and don't expect any of them to work. I'm sure
you think so?
Nintendo they know the serial numbers of those bits. Nintendo can disable them.
I guess that's a good point. That's a great point. Man, Jesse, you're so much smarter than I am on that stuff. That's a good point.
By the way, if anybody needs a Nintendo Switch, let me know.
Yeah. I was going to say the reality is that Tim is doing his Tim GTA version right now is because he has Nintendo Switch 2 consoles hot in the back of his trunk of his car that he's driving around and trying to sell in the wonderful city
we should check with Blanco. He's in the auto somewhere, isn't he?
Right? 100%.
That's where I picked him up from.
I love it.
How did you know?
I love all of it. All right. Well, we're going to jump in. I think that's going to be our news. Thanks for what we've been playing. Let's jump into our community spotlight. All right, folks, our community spotlight. We got a couple things I do want to highlight here. Our monthly Mayhem welcome tour and Mario Kart World Mayhem is coming soon. So for this month, our monthly Mayhem is the welcome tour game. You know, that one that you can buy on the Nintendo Switch for just over $10. There is a monthly Mayhem associated with that. Yep, that's a thing. And Mario Kart World Mayhem is going to be coming very soon. So get ready, get dusted up. We are going to be playing a lot more Mario Kart World with you and the community. And as Tim alluded to, tomorrow at the dinner table, it is Tim's birthday, 50th birthday. Congratulations, Timothy Off. You've made 50 rotations around the sun. Back to where you started from. Well, not necessarily where you started from, but back to here, which is fantastic. So congratulations to you, sir. Happy birthday. Everyone send Tim some sweet love in the chat as well and in our Discord, and just spam his whole day. Just make him feel just the specialist little boy that he is. All right.
I think he froze.
He's frozen. He just frozen with a shit-eating grin on his face, which is great. Don't. I would not want you. You should not be frozen like that, Tim. That's not a good idea. Do not have your mouth open because we are going to make it inappropriate quickly.
That is good. No, I just got home, so it connected to the Wi-Fi. So.
Okay, awesome. Well, all right. Well, speaking of our community, Jesse, I like giving stuff away. And Jesse, I got one more code to give away for Lost in Random, the Eternal Die, to an individual who is in our Twitch or Discord chat. We have given away two codes. We've given one away to Robbie or Robert in Australia. We've given one to Beer or Beer as a winner. He'll message me here in a second. We have got one more code to give away. Let's roll that dice. That's not a dice. It's actually a wheel that we're spinning. But I felt, who's it going to be? Who's that going to be? You spin me right from baby.
Stacking trucker who said both times after the first two spins that this was rigged.
Really interesting. Stacking trucker. Send us an email over at Nintendo. Go ahead.
That's
Tim?
Blurpy.
Blurpy. Oh, cool. Blurpy. Okay, awesome. Listen, I appreciate the fact that you know all these names of people, both Discord, Twitch handles, all this kind of stuff. Blurpy, send me a DM in Discord and I will get you an NA code for your Nintendo Switch for that. All right. So two, I should be having 2 DMs. Beer DM me, Blurpy DM me, I'll get you codes. Big thanks to Thunderful for providing us codes to give away. That's awesome. That's part of our insider program that we have with them as content creators. We love Thunderful Games. We have loved Thunderful Games for like the 10 years we've been doing this. And so it's just awesome to continue our partnership with them and looking for more opportunities to celebrate their amazing releases as well. And by the way, if you're like, oh man, what do I think about this game? Maybe I want to pick it up. It is available. It's out now in the Nintendo Switch eShop. Tim's going to have a first look at it. They make tremendous games. They always have. We're shilling a little bit for them, but they're pretty awesome. And so you check it out for sure. Yeah. All right, let's jump into our community questions. All right, we've got some community questions here, and let's jump through them as well. So Hammy asks, since it's pretty obvious that Donkey Kong Bonanza is developed by the same amazing team behind Mario Odyssey, and we have seen a Mario and Donkey Kong team up in the Super Mario movie, how would you feel if the next 3D Mario game were a full Mario and Donkey Kong platformer team up? How would I feel? I'm in. I love that idea. I think what we're absolutely seeing from Nintendo, and I'm a little bit biased here for sure, because it's Donkey Kong, right? I think we're seeing that Nintendo has recognized that they have a character and an IP that they're looking to sort of like give the boost to, right? To give it a bit of a run, to, you know, give it the belt, to promote it a high amount. We see that with obviously the Universal Studios land that was just created. We see that with the remake that it got in Mario Kart World. We see that it was re-released in January, right? We see the new game being made by this team. I think Nintendo is leaning in and saying, hey, Donkey Kong, it's time for the championship belt. You can run with the championship belt, right? And I think that's what's going to happen. So if Mario and Donkey Kong had like a tag team event, yes, I would be 100% for it. I would love somehow like the end of this, we find out that like Mario is the villain, because Donkey Kong Bonanza.
I want to see like the two of the characters reminiscing. Remember that time when I kidnapped your dad and you had to save him? That wasn't that funny.
Donkey Kong Bonanza is like the prequel. Right? We're going to see what happens, what really happens. And I think Mario is going to come out to be a real sleazeball. You know, that's what I'm thinking. I don't know. What do you guys think? Would that be an awesome team up?
I'm all for what they can do with it.
Yeah. I mean,
yes.
It's always awesome to see what they come up with, and it's exciting. This game's got me even more excited about it after seeing the direct. Yeah. So I just want to get through this one. If they have one that's a team up, definitely. It would be like a trilogy almost, right? Mm-hmm. So you had Odyssey, you had Bonanza, and then what would be the third one called?
I don't know.
We'll have to come up with something.
I love it. Well, let's think about it, though. But good point. Our next question comes from Darth Platypus, who asks, is there any gaming event or destination that is a bucket list item for you? Darth Platypus, I would say the following. I have been fortunate enough to go to almost every single gaming major event. I've been to Gamescom. I've been to PAX East, PAX West, Nintendo Live. I've been to EGX. I have been really fortunate in my game conference travels, supported by my amazing family. They're saying I have to say that. They're like right here, so it's awkward if I don't say it. I think the one that I sort of would be like collecting the final like Infinity Stone Gauntlet, if you would be E3. We know E3 doesn't exist, so sort of I wish I could have gone back in time to have gone to an E3. So in relation to that, the one that I sort of feel like I'm again, if I'm using the Infinity Stone that I don't have yet, is Summer Game Fest. That may be one to look into. Like maybe next year might be something to consider there, but that would sort of be it. I would say the other or destination bucket list item. Interestingly enough, actually, my family and I just booked our tickets to Japan. We're going in February of 2026. We're going to go to Universal Studios, and we're hoping to go to the Nintendo Museum. So those are sort of like on my big like bucket list. But I've been really fortunate to
Is
do
that
those
still
things.
lottery based?
Yes, it is. So that's not cool. I'm hoping it's not going to be by that point, but it's probably still going to be lottery based. The only other thing that I
Talk
would
with
really
Drew. I think it was Drew who went to Japan recently.
no, it
Kevin.
was Cozy.
Okay,
Yeah.
Kuzi. Yeah, I knew
Kuzi.
someone from 8-Bit went. He said he originally did not
Yeah,
get
I
drawn,
was chatting
but
with
was on a wait list and was
yeah,
able
I was
to get
chatting with
in.
him about it. So yeah, I'm gonna have to try and figure a strategy. I think the other thing that would sort of be like super cool is I would love to go to Redmond, Washington, and I'd love to get a tour of the building. That would sort of be like okay. I think the other like final like big capstone gaming thing from like a content creator perspective that would be like amazing would be if we were actually formally asked to go somewhere to see a preview event.
Yes.
Like that would sort of be like the final like actually, and not necessarily like we put in for a draw, but like hey,
Roger, give us a
we
plug.
yeah, hey, we would love
We
the
actually
Nintendo
get an
dads.
invite from Nintendo. Yeah.
Yeah, 100% to go out and actually attend some kind of event. That would sort of be like the ultimate like, yeah, I'm done here. Right? That's the capstone. I'm done. Would sort of be my statement. But guys, what about you? What about with you?
Yeah.
Jesse.
Yeah, I did do an E3 that at the time that was a bucket list item for me. That was 14 years ago now. I can't believe it's been that long. I think we just did PAX and I wasn't sure I'd be able to handle it, but I handled it well.
Yeah, great.
I think maybe doing an IGN live one year might be interesting. And that's something they just recently started it. I think this is their second year doing it, so they'll probably keep doing it. Then the Healy show in December, the award
Game Awards.
Game Awards. Yeah. I think that would be a fun event to go to. So at some point.
Yeah. Game Awards is also is probably my number 2 on my list. Yeah. Number 1 is the Nintendo thing, getting invited, the 4 dads getting invited to a Nintendo event.
Yeah.
I could imagine like them, you know how they had the dad things where all the dad podcasts got together. I think it would be cool if they did like an event that we could go to. So who knows if something like that comes up, but that would be probably my number 1.
Yeah. And I would also say like we were really fortunate, and I was the only one that got to experience it, but the Nintendo Live event was really incredible.
Yeah.
Like we got asked if we were coming, which was great. We were able to come. They gave us VIP experience. We met our PR rep. I actually got to sit down with one of the VPs and have an interview with them as well. Like we got an incredible experience from Nintendo. And so that was super incredible. So we've, like, if I'm being quite honest, like these are things that we're sort of like lawfully dreaming of, but like we have been incredibly fortunate by our access, by our ability, by what we've been able to do. I've benefited probably the most out of it, I think, from the entire group, just when I was especially living abroad, that allowed for me to have a little bit more exposure. But all that is because of our incredible fans and our audience that supports us and watches our content and shares our content and all that kind of good stuff. And so that's actually, awesome as well.
Yes.
Okay, thumbs up. All right, moving on to our next item as well. Hoots asks, would you guys have preferred the discovery of the identity of Donkey Kong Bonanza's companion organically by playing the game, or are you glad it was revealed during a marketing campaign or the marketing material? So good question. So are we okay that we discovered it was Pauline, as opposed to just having it discovered organically?
I was surprised to see it was a younger Pauline because she's always been portrayed as an adult woman. So this is the first time she's been portrayed like she's 12.
Yeah. I had to laugh. Krista from the Kit and Krista podcast put on Twitter that it was like a side-by-side comparison of like Wreck-It Ralph and the girl from Wreck-It Ralph and then Donkey Kong. And I was like, oh, I totally can't not see that now. Also from Monsters, Inc., the Big Blue.
Yeah, yeah.
Sully?
And then the little girl, yeah, it was Sully. It was like, oh, it's totally that energy.
Sully and Boo.
And I think, yeah, and I think even like Tim, there was that shot where like Donkey Kong's getting sucked up by the tornado, and it like slows down, and his face is like super animated. He's like, "Whoa," and I was like, man, does that feel like a Pixar
Yeah,
moment? And what it was until I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, that looks like something I would have seen from Wreck-It Ralph.
Right.
But like all of that energy around it, I think that they had to reveal it. Because of how much they showed off of like, hey, the 2-player functionality. And I think if they didn't show off that pieces of it, we would all be sort of saying like, oh, well, do we want to pick it up? Nintendo has to tell us, they have to convey to us their story about why we as consumers are willing to pay for this game. Why, like, and so they had to do that. And so I think that had to be revealed in this direct for us to understand all the nuances around it. It is sort of what it is. Tim, go ahead.
Do you think that they had to do that because of the initial reaction from the game? Because a lot of people were just like, it doesn't look like a $70, $80 game or whatever it is. And we're kind of on the fence. There were some people who were like, it didn't look all that great. And then there's some people that were like me, it was like,
Well,
I liked the mechanics of it. So I was ready to
Yeah,
jump
I don't
in.
think who your companion is would matter, whether
Yeah.
it's a rock or a girl.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, and I think it was interesting. I think Tim and you and I were talking about it. Like I was hearing a lot of like from the preview events, listening to like IGN and Kind of Funny that they were like, it was okay, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't like I wasn't sold on it. And
Right.
and a lot of those conversations now are like, okay, now I'm sort of sold on it. Now I see what we're doing, right?
Yeah, Roger played. Was invited to one of these preview events, and he was playing a level and came across an area where with musical notes, and he was confused. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. Why this is here? And
now it does.
Now it does.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is Nintendo really swinging for the fence with this, and I know that Tim, you're a little bit late to the conversation, but we talked about like the influences that this came from in our conversation during the direct of like, I was like, it was a Donkey Kong game.
You and I talked about it too, the influences during the direct.
Yeah,
you could see it. Yeah,
like I think, I mean, being a Donkey Kong game, I was picking it up regardless. But once they went through this direct and really revealed it, and if you actually go to the website, like on the Nintendo eShop, on the like your web page, they have a full like website dedicated and designed to it, and there's so much content in there. You can tell again, it's getting that push, it's getting that elevation. They want you to know why it's being used, how it's being used, the system effectively, and how they're promoting it as much as possible. This will be a huge game for Nintendo, and I came out of the direct basically saying like, I am ready for this, right? Like, come on, July 17th, I am ready to jump in. I'm like, my body will be ready by that point of having 6 weeks of the Nintendo Switch 2 with me and understanding that's now the world I want to get into and start playing. And like, there's no other game right now that I'm super interested in playing until I actually get there. So I'm really excited for it.
Do you think they'll do? We talked about this during the direct that we thought it would be a good idea for them to come out with a demo at least a couple weeks before it comes out. But do you think, will you play it? Will you play the demo, or do you want to play it fresh?
I would still play the demo. I'm not like you weird sickos who are like, I go on like radio blackout or whatever. I'd still play. I don't think they're going to do that. That was just me being selfish of like, I just want to try it. But I think, I'm excited for it for sure. So,
yeah, I watched Roger's reaction as well, and he after thinking about it, he goes, "This could be like the origin of New Donk City."
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. There's, I think like they're putting a lot into this, which I think will tell a very interesting and compelling story. So, yeah. All right. Last question comes from Zablanc. In 2025,
well, this is a response to Hoots.
Oh, God.
That's why I have it indented that way.
Oh, that makes more sense now. So Zablanc's response to Cahoots, to Hoots. Kahoot is something completely different, by the way. You know, you've been spending too much time in corporate training America when you're calling out Kahoot. In 2025, you'd never have this choice. Someone was going to spoil it. The first question becomes, would you want a leaker or some schmuck who got the game early to ruin it, or just have Nintendo reveal it? Very true. Very true, right? Like this would have been revealed 2 days beforehand because somebody got early access, right? And all of a sudden it's there. So Nintendo owns the narrative. They're able to really talk about the value of it, sell you on it, as opposed to it being like something that's magically leaked. So I would tend to agree with
just like Pokemon, they reveal the starters, then before the game launches, they'll reveal their full evolutions, even though you're like, I want to find out those evolutions on my own. Don't show me, but they show anyway. Because again, we're gonna get spoiled somehow.
Yeah. Ms. asks, so is this a prequel to Donkey Kong? I don't know for sure if it's confirmed. Like, we're saying it's a prequel because of the fact that Pauline definitely looks younger. We see flashes of like sort of the 1980s Donkey Kong kind of outfit. I said this to Tim. I was like, one moment he's wearing a tie, and then the other moment he's wearing overalls. Like, listen, either you're business casual or you're Happy Fridays. Figure it out.
That was before you found out that they have costume changes.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And they got the lore of Cranky Kong being the original. Cranky Kong being Donkey Kong from '81. So, and he's in this game. So this might be, I wouldn't say this is anything related to anything old. This is probably just like a reboot lore.
Yeah.
Retcon. That's what I called out during the thing.
Right. Yeah. My only speculation I have with this is that by the end of the game, you're going to be smiling and there's going to be a tear rolling down your cheeks. I think that is the world that they're building here. I think that's the emotional. I think they're trying to tell an emotional story. And you can see that at the end, like when they're like falling and the hands are like reaching for each other, right? And some of the music and like, I think I wouldn't be surprised if this sort of gives you Disney.
Another Zelda reference.
Yeah. 100%. Yes, Tim.
So the Nintendo had to come out with something that was going to grab people, right? Why do people buy Nintendo consoles? To play Nintendo games.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Mario Kart is a big seller on the last console. So that's why they probably brought that out, because why not? That's the number one selling game on the other console, so let's come out with the sequel on the new console. But a fast follow with a proper character game, and it has to be a banger. It has to come out swinging, and that's what it looks like it's going to do.
Mm-hmm.
It may not, it may not be the type of game, or maybe it will. Maybe it will be those things.
So
one of those games where, like, okay, I'm going to go buy a console now. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. Like every single time Nintendo puts a game out there, they are trying to convince an audience that this is the game that you need to be spending your money. This is the game that will trigger you to buy a Nintendo Switch 2. And so they're going to continue to try and have that happen. I think Pokemon will probably be a pretty big tipping point for folks, if I'm completely honest. But they're going to try real hard with Donkey Kong, and I'm here for it. Anytime that big hairy beast gets more airtime, I'm all for it.
So you said Swing, so what goes into my head is King of Swing, which was a Donkey Kong game on Game Boy Advance.
And that's why I said that. I planted those seeds so that you could use them for your own reference. Nice. Well done to both of us, I guess. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for our questions. And let's just do a quick scroll through the chat. Just as we're scrolling through the chat here, I do want to say big thanks to everyone thank you to everyone who joins us. YouTube, Twitch, watching us on X, watching us on Facebook Live, all those places. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for your support. This last month has been a really big content month for us. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for commenting on our videos. Thank you for sharing with them. We see like the comments that come in on all of our videos, and there's a ton of content.
Your accessory videos have gotten a lot of traffic.
Yeah, they're like, I see the names in our community who are referencing and connecting and commenting and sharing. So thank you for all of that. Thank you for just being part of our community, being here and supporting us, and putting questions in the chat here, and being here, whether it's for a game or just whatever it is. We greatly appreciate that. We appreciate you spending some time with us, spending your energy with us, and hopefully that you're feeling the same level of passion and excitement we are about the Nintendo Switch and the Nintendo Switch 2 lineup coming up soon. So sincerely, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you for everything that you do for us that allows for us and energizes us to do all these things. I will tell you that we have, I think for the last 6-7 weeks, have been pretty going full out. I think when moving straight from PAX East right into this rollout, right into all this content. But the support from the community is what energizes us to be able to do these things. So genuinely, thank you. Getting to see so many people jump online this last weekend and play with the NSO group, and literally people in the Discord being like, "Oh, you're playing right now. I'm coming." Right, Mech, I'm looking at you. I'm gonna join right away. Like, to see that and know that people are enjoying connecting and being together and hanging out and doing whatever that is. The fact that we're celebrating Tim's birthday tomorrow. This is just a really special place, and we just want to thank all of you for making this special. So we appreciate it.
And that includes everybody who helps us with everything too, with doing their content for us, or helping like the guys on the NSO team who helps out in that area. Yeah. And they all have their own, some of them have their own podcasts, like a couple of them are from the Retro Logic group. So
the poor community creators who I keep nagging, like, we've got more codes, please make content, help us, help us. So I feel bad that we keep doing that, but thank you for just all being a part of like stitching this community, this blanket together that I hopefully you all feel proud of and connected with as well. So thank you for that as well. Robert says, thank you for the awesome podcast. Been listening since the beginning. Robert, thank you, man. That's a long journey, right? We're almost 11 years here, almost 11 years in October, which is unfreaking believable.
Bryce says, first time listening, this was great. And he said earlier that he's in his mid-20s. I won't say his exact age in case he didn't want it shared, but and has like a newborn.
Oh, man, that's awesome. Congratulations. That's an exciting time. So
he goes, does that make me a Nintendo dad? I said it sure does.
Sure does. Send in your parenting questions. We've got a lot of experience between 3 dads and 4 when Marty's here as well. So folks, let's give you some free time. We're going to start rounding it out here. We are back next week. Of course, we're back podcasting every single week. Next week, Casey Cool is going to be joining us as our special guest. So we're excited to always have Casey join us. He's sort of our 5th member of the team, but we're excited to be here. Big thanks to our amazing Patreon producers. That's Dave Ernsberg, Jacqueline Amira, and our over 100 patrons who support us every single month. Also next, a big special thank you to all of our Twitch subscribers as well. There's 15 of you at least. Thank you for that. We continue to grow in our Twitch space as well. We're nearly at 1,500 followers. That's incredible. And right now on YouTube, this is crazy. I can't believe I'm going to say this. We're just shy of 8,100 subs on YouTube. That is just incredible. A goal of mine has been that it would be incredible if we eventually get to 10,000 subs. And I know that comparatively to some other channels, that is such a small amount. But for this channel, that would be incredible. 10,000 YouTube subs is some weird milestone for me that I feel is really awesome. I'd love for us to make it there, and I think that we can eventually get there as well. If you're interested in more of the Nintendo Dads content that we put out, head over to our website. We actually have a genuine website that you can go to that has all of our content. That is nintendodads.org, where we have a list of all the family of podcasts and recommended podcasts like the Star Wars Dads, Mega Dads, Dad Crossing, Retro Logic, and their family of podcasts as well. So if you're looking for more dad content, you're looking for more nerdy video game content, come on over to our website, because you can find all of those places that we support and our friends and content creators as well. We have tons of content on YouTube, so you can check out that. We have our latest videos on YouTube and tweets. We also have access to our social media, whether that is Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky. We have a TikTok channel, X. We have a lot of the socials. So we're all over there. You can find us as well. And of course, Extra Life. Extra Life is coming up soon, where we continue to play video games to support Children's Miracle Network hospitals. If you want to be part of our team, you can join the Nintendo Dads team. We are always creating lofty goals because we believe it's critically important to help children and Miracle Network Children hospitals. You'll be hearing a lot more about our team, our plans, and how you can be a member and support us during that time as well, or play along with us, which is incredible. Also, if you want some sweet Nintendo Dads merch, that's right, we legitimately have merch. You can head to that space as well and get that content. And hey, if you're a dad and maybe Father's Day just passed and you're missing some sweet treats for yourself to make yourself feel better about your own dadding, hey, our good friends over at Manscaped has got a promo code for you. It's 20% off and free shipping when you use the promo code NINDADS, NINDADS. That's manscaped.com for 20% off. Questions, comments, or concerns, hey, you can email us at nintendodads@gmail.com, or you can call in and leave us a voicemail. That's 929-25-NDADS. That's 929-256-3237. Big thanks to OC Remix, which is the music you hear throughout the show. And P.S., if you're listening to us via a podcast, whatever your podcast catcher of choice is, do us a huge favor. Man, we would love to continue to elevate ourselves in those ranks, and we would love your 5-star reviews and comments on our show. Helps more people get to know our show and become in their ear holes, which is exactly where we want to be, streaming in ear holes. So, hey, if you could do us a favor, that would be great. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of episode 533. For myself, for Jesse, for Tim playing his GTA Tim in the car where he's selling hot item Nintendo Switches out of the back of his car. Please find them. I hear they're a great sale. You should check that out. And for Marty, have a great day. Be kind to each other, and we'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Nintendo Dads.
You gotta get your